This is 365 Sports.
The Midway Panthers podcast with David Smoak and head coach Shane Anderson is brought to you by Bird Culchin Ford, Centex Bookkeeping, the U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine, Safe and Secure Storage, and TFNB, your bank for life.
It is time for week number 6 of our Midway Football podcast on 365 Sports. I'm David Smoak with Midway Panthers head coach Shane Anderson. Is that a smile on your face, a win?
Yeah. You know, it's always good to be 1-0 when you start district play, and just super proud of our kids and our coaches for last week. And unfortunately, we're at that point in the season where you can enjoy it for about 24 hours, and it's time to get to the next one. And got a big test this week.
Home game against Harker Heights, 7 o'clock will be our pregame on 106.7 FM, The Eagle, and also the link on the app. Get the app, Sikkim 365. You can listen to the games on the app too. And Harker Heights, who won the district championship last year, had a coaching change and were blown out by Weiss. And Weiss seems to be right now the guy, the alpha in 12-6A, although we'll see down the road, and you have them at the end of the year. So let's do Harker Heights first and then go backwards and reverse into last week at Hutto. They don't have the running back. Rashawn Sanford's at Houston. He hurt his knee. He's out for the year, but he was spectacular, like their best running back they've ever had. They have the quarterback back in Blake. He throws the ball a lot more. Different coaching staff. What do they do differently?
Yeah, like you said, it's a different, Jerry and those guys have always been I think part of it's Jerry being a defensive guy, was there for, 11 or 12 years. And, they were a run-oriented, play really, really good defense team. And, they're still playing good defense. You look at their scores other than last week, they've held opponents, to four touchdowns. I think 1 week against somebody they gave up 5 touchdowns. But other than that, they're still playing good defense. They're just not as run-heavy, and they're throwing the ball around. It's more of the traditional spread stuff, trips, doubles. And, they're wanting Blake to throw the ball, and he's done a good job. And he has, a whole, swarm of receivers that can go get it.
Mark Humble, the head coach now at Harker Heights. He played at Colleen High, was on that state championship team back, I believe it was back in 1990.
It was 91, wasn't it?
91, yeah, when they had the Kangaroos made the great run. So you changed your defense at halftime?
Yeah,
you went to a 3-man front rather than 4-man front. What was the Clint Clayton and your coaching staff decision there?
Yeah, I think the biggest deal was we felt like it was giving us an opportunity to get our best 11 guys on the field, and nothing against our D-line, but they weren't running the ball between the tackles. And so we come out and essentially gotten 2-5 techniques with our ends, and gave up the interior stuff and tried to kind of dare them to run inside, and that's not really what they wanted to do. And, we felt like they gave us the best opportunity to take care of the interior stuff, and then expand those outside backers to try to help on some of that pass stuff. And like I said, it was a good mix-up, and our kids played extremely hard, and, we're able to get the Krausen kids some reps. Yep. And, he come in there and kind of lit a fire. He was our defensive MVP, and we just felt like he changed the game. And, he's a sophomore, real big motor guy, plays extremely hard. And we felt like that, once we watched the film that he kind of added a spark. And so, we're just, like I said, super proud of our coaches and super proud of our kids.
We talked about this, especially in the game a couple of weeks ago against Heath and Rockwall. You had the near interception. You had one, but it was called back with a penalty. But to get a mistake, Krausen recovers the fumble, speaking of him, when they were driving, and it looked like they were getting that rhythm back, and they had the long pass, but to see that ball on the ground, it seemed like it was on the ground for 25 minutes. And I didn't know who came up with it initially, but for him also to get the turnover, what did that just mean to get a break that you also yourself took advantage of?
Yeah, that's the name of the game, is just, the ball's got to bounce your way sometimes, and it bounced our way several times Friday night, and, our kids took advantage of it. And that's what we've been, like you said, we've been really close. We've had some interceptions hit us in the hands and dropped them. And, I think we had another one the other night. Isaiah stepped in front of that one.
Oh, yeah.
And it would have been a pick six if he catches it. But, needless here and there, it's one of those deals where you got to take advantage of opportunities. And like I said, I think, we tell our kids all the time, if you play extremely hard, good things are going to happen. Yeah. And that's I think that's what it is. And, like I said, not taking anything away from, Hutto or Will Hammond or anybody, but, I think that, our guys rose to the occasion, and I think that Friday night Ty Brown was the better quarterback on the field, and, I think he showed that.
Yeah, he was fantastic, and we'll get to that. You mentioned Isaiah Alexander, who makes plays. He almost would have been a pick six of about 80 yards. But what I loved about that is he didn't let that get him down. He blocked the field goal that came back to be a big part of it, and also was a play you made on defense.
Yeah, we celebrate that kind of stuff. We celebrate, Saturday mornings we celebrate, obviously an MVP on offense, defense, and special teams. We celebrate big plays, kind of plays that changed the game. And, Isaiah was our big play on special teams this week, obviously, blocking the field goal. And then Donovan also had a blocked extra point. But, I think when all the dust settles, we win by 3 and block the field goal. And so, we celebrate that stuff. We celebrate big hits with our kids. They get stickers for their helmets. And so, they're really buying into that. And, they're, like I said, they shake the negative and they get to the next play, and it gives them an opportunity to be celebrated and be recognized the next day.
All right, what was the bigger play in the fourth quarter? Ty and the 61-yard run that just kind of it wasn't just you got a break and then you had the 61-yard run. And again, he seems to glide, and you don't look like he's going fast, but he is, and it's hard to get him. And tell me the discussion on 4th and 3, because that was what sealed the game. He picked up the first down.
Yeah, I think obviously, anytime you can flip the field after a turnover, a lot of people, and if you're on our sideline and they get a 4th down stop or they get a turnover, we're constantly telling our kids, hey, here comes the trick play, here comes the big play. And, they're going to take a shot. They're going to take a shot. And, we took a shot. It was just in a different, it wasn't over the top. And it was, Chad, Coach President, and those guys felt like they had it, had something, in that run scheme. And we hit it, and Ty took off. And like you said, it flipped the field. Big play. But I think, sealing the deal on the 4th and 3, just on the plus side of the field, we knew that we had to get that or they were going to get the ball back. And, the conversation was, we're not punting. I asked Chad, said, you got it? He said, yes, sir. And here we roll. And so, and I like to let those guys, I felt like if we punted it, they were good enough offensively, and they had kind of had enough time to make some adjustments to us being in that 3-man front. And that last drive, I think it was a 20-play drive, the last one they went down and scored. So you just, it's kind of a field deal. And, luckily for us, Chad did a great job of formationing them and getting the edge we wanted. And we knew that, we had the edge. It was just a matter of getting that block and getting around there, and everybody executed. And like I said, super proud of our offensive line on that. We rushed for, almost 350 yards, and that's a big deal for us. And so, we put a lot of stock into that, and we recognize those guys, and we celebrate those goals. And so it was just, it was a good win.
Don't go out of bounds, though, when you get the first down, right?
No doubt.
But you had plenty of time, and their timeouts were very minimal. Jaden Johnson starts at left guard. He's a big fella and a young sophomore, another sophomore. How much did his size and just kind of a changeup help you?
Yeah, I think it was good for us. It was good for him. We call him Debo. Obviously he's a big dude, and that's been his nickname since he was in junior high. And so,
what is that again?
Debo.
Debo, okay.
Like off the movie Friday.
Yeah.
The big bully. And so he he's a lot of fun. He's a fun kid. Just being a sophomore, he's practiced with the varsity all year. We've tried to get him, playing time, get him some reps on the JV. Coach Summer and Coach Passwater have done a great job of kind of molding him into being ready for that opportunity. And, we just told him, hey, go out there, get your hands on somebody and be aggressive, and then good things will happen. And so he had a great game. And, like I said, we really had a great game across the board on the offensive line, and, mixed in some tight end stuff with Landry. And then, we moved KJ, who's been a kind of our third string quarterback, and just a super athlete, just hadn't really had a fit. And our offensive staff has done a good job of getting him included. And then being able to use Donovan when we need to on offense has been good. And Donovan's worked hard to play himself into shape to be able to do that. So it was just an all-around effort.
I don't remember the exact time, but you called a timeout. It was a kind of a moment where you had the lead, but you called the timeout and you were in front of your entire team on your sideline. It wasn't just a timeout to stop the clock or to get a play in. You called a timeout. What did you say then?
Well, we had, I think it was just right after we just scored, and they'd got a 15-yard penalty. And so I didn't want it to come down. I knew the referees were going to, tighten up the screws, so to speak, on the penalty stuff and try to keep the game, in check as far as the extracurricular stuff after plays. And so I just wanted to remind our kids, don't get caught up into that deal. Felt like we were in a good position to win the game. UIL rule says if you get a 15-yard penalty, you throw a punch, you get two 15-yard penalties, or you get ejected, that you're suspended for the half of the next game. And so, we just try to reel our kids in and make sure they understand there's a bigger picture than what happens on that play. And our word of the week last week was now.
Yep.
And, we talked to them. I said, hey, look, we're right where we want to be right now. Don't get caught up in something that's going to cost us. Play hard, finish the game right. We'd been in that position twice earlier in the year, and I think that's the difference in us winning or losing that football game is our non-district schedule prepared us for it.
Well, it was an emotional week for you, and we've discussed that. And your Tommy, your grandfather, the memorial was, of course, on Tuesday. Did that come into play, the emotions of just winning the game? Was that at all ever on your mind last Friday?
No, not really. Just being honest with you, okay. It's like I said, there's so many emotions. There's so many things that happen on Friday night. It's like I said, it's one play after the next, one series after the next, and then it's now. And and I think our staff has done an outstanding job of just understanding, what we have and how good we can be. And I'm just, like I said, I'm super proud of our guys, our coaching staff and our players and the people that are in our facility. You're always going to have naysayers. You're going to have people that, especially with social media nowadays and the Instagram and the Snapchats and all the stuff that they can put out there real quick and roast and high sight. And it's just the society we live in. And we try to keep that stuff out of the locker room. I know the kids see it, but we try to stay focused. Our coaches do an outstanding job of staying focused on that. And like I said, it was an emotional week for me, but at the same time, man, being 1-0 in our district, it was the goal, and that's where we're at. And just like I said, I couldn't be proud of our kids and our coaches, and we got to do it again this week.
Well, 1-0 last year, and then, of course, Harker Heights on the road. Junior got hurt, and that game was very much up for grabs at the particular time. One note on Friday's broadcast in our pregame, my interview will be with Ezra Martinez Sr., his son, of course, Junior, one of the outside or now inside linebackers with the change in the formation, and a great, great time with him. We will feature him on the pregame show that will start at 7 o'clock, 106.7 FM and Sikkim 365 app. What's the word this week?
Respect. And we spun it with our kids. Obviously the old cliche, respect's not given, it's earned. Being 1-0, you opened everybody's eyes. Okay, they're, that non-district schedule, they're 1-0 in district, but you really want to gain people's respect. You really want to prove to people that we're making progress and we're getting better each week. You got to go out and you got to win this one. It's at home. Like I said, we've talked about our home crowd. We've talked about our student section. You know what kind of atmosphere it's going to be. It's going to be unbelievable for our kids, and they're just. They're fortunate to get to play in the stadium we have and in front of the crowd we're going to have. And so we have to respect that, as players and as a program, the support we have and the opportunity we have. But at the same time, it's about going out and being 1-0 again this week and people starting to respect us as a football team again.
A lot of attention last week with Will Hammond going to Tech. We discussed it, but it was nice to see Ty. The throw to Jackson Baird, it started the second half. The score right before the half when you're down 17 and then you turn around like less than a minute into the third quarter. He was huge. And the weapons you're starting to see, Longoria, 100-plus yards, ran hard. Wissington, Lathan had some tight, tough runs, scored. Again, you see guys growing up, don't you? Isn't that the best part of being a coach?
It is. It's a lot of fun. And especially, like I said, just you take it on the chin and then you gotta stay locked in, stay focused on us and the team, and not, like I said, not letting the outside noise get in the locker room and just getting the kids to believe in each other. And that's probably the the most fun is just when it's over and you get that dub, and to look at the kids smile and look at them look at each other, and that's the first thing I told them after the game. Hey, remember what this feels like.
Right.
You have to remember what this feels like. You have to remember what you did this week to give yourself that opportunity, and you got to repeat it. And that's hard for kids nowadays. It's hard for adults. And, but that's the goal. That's the name of the game. It's going to be a tough week. It's going to be a tough league. I mean, each week we're going to have to show up and play. We're going to have to take care of the ball. And I feel like that all the teams in our league are very, very comparable. And I think it's going to come down to big plays and turnovers, and that's what we're going to keep preaching.
Everything tastes better. Everything like drinks, food, the air you breathe, everything at home when you win. And it was a nice win, gutsy and also emotional win against Hutto, 45-42. Harker Heights, 7:30 the kick. Our pregame at 7 o'clock, 106.7 FM, the Eagle, and Sikkim 365 app. Thank you, man.
I appreciate you.
That's Midway football coach Shane Anderson, and this is 365 Sports.
This is 365 Sports.
The Midway Panthers podcast with David Smoak and head coach Shane Anderson is brought to you by Bird Culchin Ford, Centex Bookkeeping, the U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine, Safe and Secure Storage, and TFNB, your bank for life.